Pastor, how does he see the watchman? That takes us to looking at how God saw some people in various generations in time past. Let's see how he saw Noah and why he saw Noah in that way. Number one, has God sees watchman as he saw Noah. Noah was seen by God in a different and distinctive perspective because of what he, God, determined and did with him. The way God saw Noah wasn't the way he saw other people at that time. Because of what God determined to do with Noah and what he accomplished through Noah. Remember the story of Noah, that at that time the world went haywire, confusion everywhere. Everybody wants to do what he wants, what she wants. No person was responsible again. And the descendants of Cain went into marrying the daughters of descendants of Seth, which wasn't proper, without caring what God would say. In Genesis chapter 6, Genesis chapter 6, from verse 1 to verse 2. Genesis chapter 6, verses 1 and 2, then verse 4. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. Verse 4. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, that they bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. A time when strange things were happening, and giants were being born, and the world became violent. If you go home, you can still read how. You may see pick some other verses. It was at this time that Noah was picked. When I consider how God brought me to the watchman, and why God said to me, don't leave the boat, I begin to appreciate what the watchman is. I told us yesterday of when I joined the watchman, February 1987. And by my nature, I am somebody that what I want to do a thing, I do it to the best of my ability. In any sport that I engage in, that I love, I want to reach the zenith. Anything I want to do, I want to do the best. If I take any responsibility, I want to put in my best. From secondary school, when they made me a prefect, in the school then, there was taking of oath of office. I wasn't born again, people were not born again. But after I took that oath of office as a prefect, I did not compromise. And because of it, some boys gang up to pour acid on me. Did you hear what I said? Yes. He is too strict. They call themselves acid boys. It was the beginning of cultism in secondary school. Do you know what they did? Got syringes, went to the chemistry lab, got H2SO4, sulfuric acid. When they came to where I was supposed to be, I wasn't there. I was still on duty, 11 p.m. Lights off had gone. So they did what? They just sprinkled it on my bed. It would have been because once lights off, lights out, you don't put on light again. So as a prefect, if you come back, you won't put on the light, you will just lie down, sleep. But as I came into the room, there was just a restraint. I wasn't born again. I got a touch, and behold, holes made by the acid the thing had eaten. eating into the phone, all everywhere. So I now went and called other prefects. And that night, we began to conduct a search. And what we discovered is that school, it was unbelievable. This school was a very good school. Federal Government College, Port Harcourt. What we discovered was unbelievable. That people came with charms. People came with daggers. People came with small axes. Every kind of thing. But why did I bring this story? That even as a small young man, small boy, I wanted to do to the best of my ability. Since I took an oath that I will work conscientiously, so help me God, I must do it. So when I became born again, I ate the Bible. By 1996, I had read through the Bible 10 times. From 87 to 96. In fact, it was God that told me, okay, let him be leading me how to read now. I read and more than 10 times read it because I wanted to eat the Bible. Different experiences, different exposures. That is why virtually every experience, if you have God's calling as a young man, every experience you are going to get through, I have gone through it. And God will be telling me that is what they go through. That's what they go through. So when I'm preaching, I preach and touch people because I know the tendencies, the dispositions, and the flares of youth because I was a youth when I became born again. This tendency to go and do this and do that, it came to me because that's what happens to them. And said, don't leave the boat. It was been in those 90s, 94, 92, 91, that I was starting my own ministry. I got information, Fire Foundation Fellowship. I didn't imagine it. Spoken to me, and I wrote down. So by now, we should have been seeing it on tele. There are people that don't understand how God works. When you are called into a gathering of this kind, you can fulfill your ministry in that gathering. You can fulfill whatever tag you are anchoring in that ministry. It's not go and do your own. Go and start your own. Many that want to start their own will now go and get Satan come to them alone. Last time I came, I described the broom. I think you have broom over here. No. Okay, don't have brooms here. Okay, what do you have here? Brush. Okay. Over here, the brush is synthetic, so it won't illustrate well what I want to say. If you're able to get these twigs, the twigs of these trees, to describe the broom for those who don't know the broom, the twigs, these little twigs of this tree, if you cut them and put them together and tie them, it is called a broom. You can use it to sweep. These little twigs, if you put them together, get many of them and tie, you can use it to clean, sweep, and do what you want to do. Even though this one is not a best description, because in the normal broom, it is, yes, flexible. It is made from the palm fronds or raffia palm fronds. The leaves of the palm fronds are scraped, and then the stem of those leaves are brought together. If you bring them together in a bundle, you cannot break it. But if you pick them out one by one, you can readily break. It tells you that united you stand, divided you readily fall. In the ministry where you are, you can fulfill your ministry. And you will be a player that has made the dream great if you stayed and fulfilled your ministry. And that is what I have found out. I found out that I've affected many youths. And as I consider people I've affected, it makes me stand firmer. If temptations come, I'll remember people I've affected. And I'll say, if I fall in this temptation, what will happen to these people? But if one has been on his own, The church may be making a lot of waves, but you won't be doing what God wants you to do. And if you fall, nobody will discipline you. But if you're under and you fall, you'll be disciplined. There are advantages of being under authority. So, Noah, in his time, at a time of a lot of violence, was singled out by the Lord. The Spirit of God, which bringeth conviction of sin, righteousness, and judgment, worked on the people of that time, and the people resisted him. In John chapter 16 and verse 8. John 16 and verse number 8. And when he is come, he will reprove the world of sin and of righteousness and of judgment. That is what he does, the Spirit of God. During that time of Noah's period, he tried to convict the people of sin, of righteousness, and of judgment. But the people remained recalcitrant. Genesis chapter 6, verses 5, 11 to 13. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. From verse 11. And Noah begat, and the earth was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, are you there? God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt. For all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. And God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. God tried, the Spirit of God tried to bring sanity into the psyche of people, but to no avail. And in verse 3, he said, and the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. My spirit shall not continue to strive with man. The Spirit of God tries to bring conviction, tries to activate the conscience of somebody who is sinning. But if that person remains dead in the conscience, he will say, I leave you alone. Till today, he tries to pressurize somebody. But a point can come when he will say, since you want to go that way, I leave you that way. That's what happened at that time. And so, Noah found favor in the sight of God.